Hey, my dear friends, gather round and get cozy because I've got a spine-tingling tale to share with you tonight. It's a story that still sends shivers down my spine whenever I recall that fateful night when the boundaries of reality and the supernatural blurred in ways I couldn't have imagined. Picture this, a rustic, isolated cabin nestled deep in the heart of a dense, ancient forest. We decided to spend a weekend getaway, far from the hustle and bustle of the city. The atmosphere was serene, and the only sounds were the rustling leaves and the chirping of crickets. As night fell, we huddled around a crackling fire, sharing stories and laughter. But as the hours passed, an eerie stillness descended upon the forest. It was as if the very woods held their breath, anticipating something ominous. Then, a faint, haunting melody wafted through the air, like the melancholic tune of a long-forgotten lullaby. We exchanged puzzled glances, unsure of the source. It couldn't have been one of us, and there was no one else around for miles. Curiosity piqued. We followed the haunting melody through the dark woods, each step echoing with a sense of unease. It led us deeper into the forest, and soon, we found ourselves standing before a long-forgotten, decrepit graveyard, hidden beneath a canopy of ancient oaks. Tombstones leaned at odd angles, and the moonlight cast eerie shadows among the graves. We moved cautiously, drawn inexplicably to a mausoleum at the heart of the cemetery. Its doors stood ajar, creaking open as if welcoming us inside. The air inside the mausoleum was frigid, and the flickering candlelight barely penetrated the gloom. There, in the center of the dimly lit chamber, we saw a figure cloaked in white, her hair flowing like a river of midnight. She played a violin with a mournful passion that tugged at our souls. We couldn't look away as the music wrapped around us, pulling us deeper into its melancholic embrace. It was hypnotic, enchanting, and utterly terrifying. The woman's eyes, void of emotion, seemed to see straight through us. As the music crescendoed, the walls of the mausoleum seemed to pulse with energy, and the room filled with phantasmal apparitions. They swayed to the music, their faces etched with sorrow and despair. It was as if the very spirits of the graveyard had risen to join this spectral orchestra. The violinist's playing grew more frenzied, and the apparitions closed in, their cold, ethereal hands brushing against us. We felt a chill to our bones, a sensation of being drawn into the embrace of the restless dead. Panic set in as we realized we were trapped in a supernatural symphony, and escape seemed impossible. But, as if in answer to our unspoken pleas, the first light of dawn began to pierce the mausoleum's darkness. The music faltered, and the ghostly ensemble wailed in agony, their forms dissipating like mist in the morning sun. We stumbled out of the mausoleum, gasping for breath, our hearts pounding. The forest had returned to its serene self, as if the night's horrors had never occurred. We shared a moment of disbelief and relief, knowing we had witnessed something beyond explanation. As we returned to the cabin, we couldn't shake the feeling that we had encountered a world where the living and the dead converged, where the supernatural was all too real. It was a night that would forever bind us, a tale we'd carry with us, our own secret horror story. So, my dear friends, remember this cautionary tale. Sometimes, in the most unexpected places, you may encounter the inexplicable, and it's a stark reminder that the line between our world and the spirit realm is thinner than we'd like to believe.
Ladies and gentlemen, gather round, for I have a tale of horror and dread to share with you. A night that will forever haunt my dreams, a night when the boundary between the living and the dead blurred, and malevolent forces roamed freely. It all began on a moonless night, when an eerie silence hung heavy in the air. The wind whispered mournfully through the trees as I ventured into the old, decrepit mansion on the outskirts of town. The locals spoke of it in hushed tones, warning of the restless spirits that dwelled within. As I crossed the threshold, the temperature plummeted, and a shiver ran down my spine. The very air seemed thick with dread. Candles flickered ominously, casting elongated shadows that danced on the walls. I pressed on, guided only by the feeble light of my flickering flashlight. The house creaked and groaned, as if it were alive, breathing in the darkness. I heard footsteps behind me, soft and ethereal, like the whisper of a ghostly presence. But when I turned, there was nothing there. My heart raced, but I couldn't turn back now. As I ascended a rickety staircase, a chilling breeze swept past me, carrying with it a whispered plea for help. It was a woman's voice, faint and desperate. I followed the sound, my heart pounding in my chest, until I reached a desolate room shrouded in darkness. There, before me, stood a spectral figure, her eyes hollow and her face contorted in anguish. She was dressed in tattered, blood-soaked garments from a bygone era. Her outstretched hand beckoned me, and a blood-curdling scream echoed through the room as she dissolved into mist and vanished. I stumbled back in terror, sweat pouring down my face. But I could not leave, for I was compelled to uncover the secrets of this haunted place. My journey through the mansion continued, each step a descent into madness. In another room, I encountered a ghostly child, a little girl with ashen skin and eyes that held centuries of sorrow. She played with a ball that rolled toward me, as if inviting me to join her in her macabre game. But when I reached for the ball, it disappeared into thin air, and the child let out a bone-chilling giggle before vanishing into the darkness. As I ventured deeper into the mansion, the encounters grew more terrifying. I saw apparitions of long-dead servants, their faces contorted in anguish as they toiled endlessly. Phantom footsteps echoed in the hallways, and ghostly voices whispered sinister secrets in my ear. The clock struck midnight, and the mansion came alive with a cacophony of ghostly apparitions. They swirled around me, their mournful wails and anguished cries filling the air. I felt their cold, clammy hands reaching out to me, trying to drag me into the abyss. I stumbled into a room at the heart of the mansion, where a massive, ornate mirror stood. It was said to be a portal to the spirit world, a gateway through which the restless souls could cross over. As I gazed into the mirror, I saw a reflection not of myself, but of the tormented spirits that inhabited this place. Their faces contorted with agony, and their hollow eyes bore into my soul. I felt an overwhelming sense of despair, as if I were drowning in an ocean of sorrow. I tried to tear my gaze away from the mirror, but it held me in its thrall. Just as I thought I would be lost forever, the first faint rays of dawn began to break through the windows. The ghosts let out one final, mournful wail and retreated into the shadows. The mansion seemed to sigh in relief, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. I stumbled out of the mansion, shaken to my core, but grateful to have survived the night. As the sun bathed the world in its warm light, I knew that I had witnessed something beyond human comprehension, a nightmarish realm where the dead and the living converged. And so, dear audience, heed my warning. There are places in this world where the veil between our world and the next is thin, where the spirits of the departed linger, trapped in a never-ending torment. Beware the darkness, for it holds secrets that can drive even the bravest of souls to the brink of madness.